all the things that have happened recently, we need this community more than ever. The last 3 years have been even harder than normal. In 2022, we saw interest rates double overnight in April. And all of that business that we felt, that acceleration in 2020 and 2021, came to a halt. And then in 2023, we saw the volume of sales drop 35% in 1 year. And then the next year, the DOJ started attacking us in our commission. And more important than ever is it for us to bond together and rise above all these challenges. And we need this network, we need each other, and we need this knowledge more than ever. And it's important for us to remember that with change, there's opportunity. And if we seize the moment and learn from the people here today, we will come on top of all of this.
Me and Kyle always like to talk about an abundance mindset. You know, come in from a perspective of let's get it, let's hit it, and that's what we want to do for this summer. So make it a summer to remember. Let's kick off the first guest.
I was in Hawaii a couple weeks ago. It was a full moon while we were there, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It was a bad thing because we did the whole drive up to the observatory and we were going to see the stars and it was going to be really cool and we were like, where are the stars? And it's like, oh, there's a full moon. It pretty much drowns out everything. And I was like, well, that sucks. Can we come back in 15 days? And it's like, no. Well, the good reason the full moon is in effect is it makes big waves. And I love big waves. And so when you're in the wave, there's two things you can do when the wave's coming at you. You can try to run from the wave, and it will actually just toss and turn you, or you can dive right through it. You turn into the wave. That's how you get through the wave. You don't run from it. In eastern Colorado, we have this rare, unique situation where we have cows and we have buffaloes. In Denver, we have more sunny days than Honolulu and Miami. People don't realize that. It's really beautiful, a lot of sun, but man, the weather will roll off those mountains fast. But the cows and the buffaloes, they also experience this quick weather pattern changes. And when the cows see the storms, they run further east, unintentionally elongating the time in which they are in the storm. But the buffalo, they turn and they run right into the storm because they know the fastest way through the storm is to run right headfirst into it. And so the question is, are you a cow or a buffalo? Are you scared of the crap in your life, or do you want to handle it? Because if you handle it, it's going to set you up to be successful no matter what you do. I can talk to you, and I'm going to talk to you about some tactical things here in a second. But none of them matter if there's bigger things going on that you have to address. You have to dive into the wave. You have to run into the storm. Pressure is a really good thing. Some of the most prized possessions on this planet are created from pressure. Diamonds in the rough. Pearls. And so are we. We're created from pressure. Pressure reveals hard stuff. I promise you, if there's a crack in the plane and you're 30,000 feet in the air, it will reveal itself. Sometimes it's the stuff inside us that has the die that's holding us back from the greatest success that we want to achieve in business. You guys came here to learn about tactical stuff, but I promise you, it's pointless unless you deal with the real stuff.
Former broker owner, team lead, you name it, Debbie's done it in this industry.
We're so excited to have Debbie here today. Like Kevin said, former broker owner, sold her company, has led teams, amazing recruiting, trained new agents, trained experienced agents, trained Kevin, trained myself, trained my wife Melissa, and has just been a huge part of our business from day one since we started doing sales. I'm so excited to have her today and have you guys get to learn from her as well. So I'll kick it over to Debbie.
My daughter, she's so funny. She says, you know, Mom, you might be dating yourself because I don't think people use sticky notes anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, shut up. I'm going to use this slide because sometimes I just feel like that. I wake up like that and I feel exactly like that. That are having moments of high stress. Oftentimes we forget to do that and we hold all of our stress right here. Some people hold all their stress in the back of their neck or in their right here, in their temples, right? So Now, what I want you to do is find a partner and face each other. Find a partner, face each other. Make a friend. Everybody have a partner? So what I want you to try to do is take a big breath and release it, but with your eyes open and while you're looking at the other person. Poor Kevin and Kyle, they had no idea I was going to do any of this stuff. Sometimes you're going to have customers that are in your face. You're going to have agents that are really upset about something that happened to them over the weekend or at an open house. And you need to get them to calm down immediately. And if you're able to do that, then that's like 80% of it, right? On the phone, it's really simple to do. When you're talking to someone on the phone, you can close your eyes and take your breaths. You can even put it on mute so they can't hear you doing that. But what you're doing is you're preparing yourself, preparing your sage response to their saboteurs. So now I'm going to teach you a second technique. Everybody ready? And it involves your fingers, but not in the way you think. No naughty sign language. So what I'd like you to both do, everybody do, hold up both of your forefingers. Hold up your forefingers. Everyone has, hopefully each of you have one, two. Then involve your thumbs. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to ever so lightly touch the tips of your forefingers and your thumbs very lightly so that you're going to feel the ridges of your fingertips. You're going to feel your fingerprint. Do you feel it? Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes and feel that. Ever so slightly. Very good, very good. All right, come back now. To get you out of the stress of the moment, out of the stress out of your head, and to center yourself so that you can be the best you. You can respond to any type of situation with your sage side of your brain. Okay.
So when you're showcasing a home, how does your home tour stand out?
It's more of what I'm talking about. That's a great question as well, because I do a lot of older homes.
Roland, they're all great questions. Really
it's very true. Getting to know you, I can see that. There's been a trend lately where a lot of people are like, hey, come take a look at what $700,000 gets you in so-and-so market. I did the exact opposite of that. And I also do a lot of business highlights too, where I do the same thing. It's not about me, it's about the home, it's about the business. What other great questions do you have?
Well, so I want to challenge that thought for just a moment. What made you choose to not have you as one of the showpieces in it? Because I think there's an argument for and an argument against. So I'm very curious on why you chose to not put yourself
So there's this saying in our industry, some of you probably heard, it's called rip off and duplicate. So when I first saw somebody do that on TikTok that wasn't in my market, I said, oh, I can easily do that. And I can batch that, and I can do that multiple times and make it kind of an easy process on myself. So that's why I started doing it that way specifically, and then I started doing it from TikTok to Instagram that way, and it started working really, really well.
I do have one question that I think would be of value and everybody to share. How'd you grow your audience?
For me, I kind of started from scratch because I had my own personal Instagram account before I got into real estate that I was kind of testing. That's actually how me and Damaris met. We met through doing blogging in San Jose with fashion and everything. But when I started real estate, I had kind of a crossover where I was like, okay, do I start a new account or do I just combine my old one? And I'm so happy I started a new one because it gave me a chance, like a fresh, clean start and to kind of experiment. And I just started with home tours. At first, I didn't know where to start either. I was like, I know people like aesthetically pleasing things. People are always curious about homes. Let's just go on home tours. I have access to all these homes in the Bay Area. Why not just go to them and talk about them and showcase them? Because not everyone has that opportunity to see these homes unless they're actively looking in the market. So I started with home tours, and then I started more with
Were they always your listings?
No,
Okay, that has to be a huge takeaway for some people is you don't need to have a fancy
That actually intimidated
listing.
me at first, because I thought the same way too. I thought, oh, they only have to be my listings. I have to procure everything. And I thought, no, it's all public knowledge. It's on Zillow, it's on Redfin, it's on all these sites.
We're so afraid of upsetting people, right? You realize if it's your listing, you maybe are going to really upset that seller. But if it's a listing that somebody else has either in your brokerage or across the market and you go and make a video of that, all of a sudden, isn't that an honest piece? And I just want to plant this seed with you. You have to understand that the consumer who's going to watch that and wanting to hire you, if you say everything about this place is great and you don't ever talk about the things that aren't right with it, you now have become a snake oil salesperson, right? You're now this person just pushing these things. Roland, what are you doing to grow your audience?
I think just being relatable is the biggest thing to grow an audience. And honestly, kind of causing some controversy, like I said, giving your opinion, because if you're the person for everybody, then you're going to work with people that you don't want to work with. So when you have that opinion and someone really relates with that, then they have a better chance of really reaching out to you, filling out your online form, whatever it is.
For me, I found that connecting with my audience, commenting, following back, really engaging with them brought more people in, because Instagram sees, oh, you're connecting with this person, then they'll suggest you to another friend, and then I start connecting with more people there. What I do as well is I'll look up, a coffee shop that I love to visit, and I look who's there too, right? I try to connect with people there. Very focused on, like I said, putting in my captions, San Jose, so people in San Jose are finding me. And I'm very more on just making sure that if you go to my page, to me, your Instagram page is like a resume. You got 3 seconds or 1 to 3 seconds, if you're lucky, to impress this person enough to say, who is this person? What are they about? And what can they do for me? And if your Instagram is so stagnant and it doesn't really convey that to the person, I don't think they'll hit that follow button. And for me, like I said, lifestyle, they know who I am, they know what I do, and they know what I can do for them. And that's helped me kind of grow and get to where I'm at right now.
Damaris, I want to stay here for just a moment. You talked about how yes, you're making your posts, and by the way, I hired a social media coach recently. She had encouraged me, make sure on Instagram you pin your top 3 posts that really identify and show who you are. Also, in your description, I think you get 60 characters or something like that. Make sure you put your city or county that you serve.
Yes.
So many people don't do that. It's a very interesting little subtlety. That's right there.
It makes a big difference, because even myself recently, I reached out to an agent through social media because of my clients relocating to Oregon, and I just typed in Realtor Oregon and just went through the list. But you'd be surprised how many people don't do that, and then they're just missing that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. But what you had said, Damaris, is you had said you're taking and you're actually engaging with them. I think that social media, so many people think it's a look at me, but you're doing, of course, there's the look at me portion with the resume, but talk about the other side of what that looks like in engaging with other people.
Yeah, it's as simple as commenting, if they posted their dog or what they're doing, and asking them questions, not just, because people can understand, especially when you're a realtor and they're like, oh, this realtor's following me, they must want my business. And it can seem slimy if it's not genuine. So I follow people that I genuinely feel like, oh, we could be friends beyond just a client relationship.
Christa, what about you? How are you growing your audience?
Yeah, so I really stick with 3 content buckets. I stick with community, real estate, and then just kind of like a backseat view of my life. So I actually do less real estate on my page and more everything else. So I'm a huge community supporter. I love to do content around, like you were saying, local coffee shops, restaurants, things like that. But I sprinkle in the real estate more as a reminder. I do a lot of local, hyper-local content, though. That's my big one. And then I just like to give people a glimpse of who I am. I'm very openly a workout enthusiast. I have little ones, so I post about them, not too much of them in my content, but I talk about them a lot. And stories is really the way that I connect with my audience. I'm in stories every single day, and it's second nature at this point. I don't really think about it. I am doing something, I take a picture or I take a video and I post it into stories. And then sometimes I'll link in whatever the coffee shop is or whatever I'm doing or the people that I'm with. And it just creates that feeling of community. And going back to the agent-to-agent aspect, if I'm at an event, I tag other realtors.
I want to understand, Christa, what is your story strategy? Go in depth a little bit more, because I'm guessing most people in the room don't use it near as well as you do.
Yeah, so like I said, it's kind of like a little sneak peek into my day-to-day life. So if it's real estate, great. If it's not, great. I do it from the moment I wake up to the time I go to bed. So I'll wake up and be in no makeup and gross and sweaty from my workout, and I'm going to show that. And then I'm put together, you know, once every other day or so. And I'm like, yeah, I really want to show that because it's not as frequent. And I'm going to a school event, I want to show that. My clients know my life.
I do a lot of static posts, is what it's called, just like a picture. I set up my tripod, I get my clicker, and I like to, again, because to me, I'm very, and it's 50-50 on social media, whether it's supposed to be aesthetically pleasing, very put together, or it's not. I think it depends on who you are. And like if you go to Christa's Instagram page and then you go to mine, completely different, but we're essentially doing the same thing. And I think that really showcases your personality. Somebody who knows me, which I get all the time, clients are like, you fit your brand. And I didn't create my brand, I just am. And I think that's very important.
Roland, I want you to share what you're doing with your podcast and how you're taking long form and stripping that down into shorter form.
So we do just the long form podcast, usually about 45 minutes to an hour. Have our guy Johnny right here who's sitting on the ground taking photos and videos. Really simple process. I use ChatGPT, take the news articles that I like, turn them into nice bullet points. We talk about them. Basically, he chops it down for us in the long form aspect where the cameras are splitting back and forth to us. And then we put it on this platform called frame.io. We timestamp each little snippet that we want to be turned into a short form content snippet, send it to our overseas editor, and then he gives it back to us and we post.
That's my final piece of advice to you, is that if this doesn't come naturally to you, you have to schedule it, and you have to treat it like a job, because this is part of your job. Each of you gets one chance, one final word, one final say of what is the call to action or the clarity piece that you want this group to hear on how they can move the needle forward a little bit and start to use social media as a better way to sell more homes. And in any order, we're going to call this the popcorn round.
Audience can smell like if you're just being fake, or if you're trying too hard. So just be authentically yourself, because trust me, you're going to create and you're going to attract that tribe, that energy towards you.
My biggest thing is, if you want to do home tours on TikTok and there's nobody in your market doing it, absolutely do it. It would probably change a lot, especially with the beautiful homes out here. And my biggest takeaway is if one of you did that, and started doing that, implementing that and batching it, I would just absolutely love that. And if you message me after that.
One key thing I would love, if anyone's like, I do not do social media, I don't know where to start, I feel like a phony if I post something, I think just do it, get it out of your head. If you have that, who cares what I post, just do it. You'd be so surprised. Somebody will care, just get that fear out of your head and just post it. And I think, like we've all said, you'll be surprised what, people start reaching out to you because they're going to get to know you beyond a professional level, now personal level. And I think we're in a relationship business, right? That's what I think most of us forget. And connect with people and build that relationship, and your business will grow.
I was going to say exactly the same thing as Damaris, but honestly, it's every single person in this room and every single person out there has a unique value. I mean, we're all different, and that's what's actually really amazing about social media is you're going to connect with the people that resonate with you. And I feel like I'm a weirdo 1,000% of the time, and I connect with other people that probably are weirdos, and that's okay. I mean, we connect with those that are around us to develop that community, and just getting out of your own head and stopping the overthought on the process of it is really the freedom in this. Just posting. I mean, if you hate it that much, delete it in 24 hours. It's okay. But most likely you're going to realize that it's really liberating.
There's going to be
possibly, and this is the gray area for me even, will you have increased competition from outside sources? Attorneys, appraisers, loan officers. I think of attorneys first because, having been one, you sit back and you say, okay, there's some attorneys that don't have a lot of clients. They're looking for things to do. Will they come to a buyer and say, hey, I can negotiate as good as them. I can write the contract as good as them. Wouldn't you want a lawyer rather than a realtor? And I've seen that, obviously even before. But now they kind of have free reign to perhaps say, hey, wouldn't you rather pay my hourly fee of X and fix it, or a flat fee? And so that's a competitor that wasn't really there before that may or may not come out there. Whether it's Sacramento, whether it's LA, whether it's here, you can look at 5 houses on the street and none of them look the same. So I think that's where technology, in a condo, maybe a condo development in the Midwest, technology can help you through that. But I think at least in California, if most of you are from California, we don't really see that, a tech takeover, so to speak.
Ronan from the Ronan Group, a fiery personality from Long Island, New York. Nic Canning at the end here, joining us, a Monterey Peninsula local and second-generation real estate professional. Bob Jamison here from Toscana Properties, and certainly not least, Ben Strock from the Strock team. Decorated figure in real estate, known for international accolades and awesome video production.
Really, the most rewarding aspects of being a team leader is whether it's the first deal, the 50th deal, that satisfied client, that cemented relationship, and seeing people grow. We sit down, similar to, I assume, all the other team leaders, we sit down every week, and we sit down and we look at the 90-day action plan of each individual. And we set out systematically on how to achieve this macro and micro game plan for each team and team member. And it's, as we all know, when you get your own deal, let alone watching someone that you've worked with and collaborated with in a long period of time in the long process to go and secure those deals, it's so rewarding.
Every agent has a different disc profile, has a different perspective on life, has different skills, because let's face it, guys, nobody goes to college and says, I'm going to be a real estate agent, right? They don't even have real estate degrees until very recently, so everybody's falling into real estate, I call it, from a different perspective. So you really have to almost play therapist, and it's like, okay, why are you here? Why are you going to work hard? And what are the impediments, and how are we going to help you get past those impediments? And every case is different. It's really like therapy, in a fun way.
You're hearing a resounding problem solving for other people, and also just having experience that they can lean into. I think all of us have experience in transactions, and then for them to be able to lean in and you to be able to give them sound advice for them to move forward. Unfortunately, I feel like I jump in and help on a lot of client calls, and we have to, and they want to jump in and have somebody who's experienced. They're having a really tough problem, and they just need another ear to bounce it off of and another ideology. And so we have to be available 24/7, and I don't care if I'm on vacation. I oftentimes am still trying to solve problems for the people who are around me. You have to be willing to do that.
I think a team is like any other team, like a sports team, baseball team, hockey team, where you kind of all have to work together, right? And everyone's different, and everyone has their different personalities. I think the best type of people to have on a team are people who are willing to learn and people who are willing to work. I find that the people who are willing to learn and the people who are willing to work do the best, personally, on my team. So.
Sounds like a greater sense of responsibility in a way, right? You have all your little ones running around out there. You're responsible for their success. It's all on you.
Yeah. Well, it kind of is, though, because when I'm paying all these bills and stuff like that, I'm like, I got to do this. I got to show up for my team, because if I don't show up today and pumped up and certain about this market, my agents are not going to be certain about this market, and they're not going to succeed.
Right. It's true.
We want to look at, what is really driving them. You want to be ambitious. This business, you can get complacent. You get one deal done, and you're like, I want to take a break for a month. That's just the opposite in our mentality. Is the second you get a listing, it begets more listings, deals beget more deals. So someone who is ambitious and is independently driving their own business forward. I also look to see how you are embedded within your community. Everyone is an ambassador of their community, and how integrated are you already involved is going to dictate how well you can accelerate your runway. And then last but not least, everyone's mentioned, the big benefit of teams is the overlap, supporting one another. So one of our main values is leaving the ego at the door.
He's been coaching our team for the last 3 years, and I'm just so excited for you guys to get to meet him here today. He's had such a tremendous impact on our business, and I'm just so excited with everything he's going to get to share with you.
3 things. It is simple. It is not easy. These 3 things are say the right thing, say it enough times, and say it to the right people. A specific game plan of what you need to do. My goal is to equip you without hesitation or reservation that you know the plan. Simple question. How many of you have been, prior to this NAR change, been getting your buyers under contract, an exclusive right to represent contract? How many of you have been doing that? A very few, okay? My team and I have sold 7,000 houses in the last 10 years. And since moment 1, we taught it. 10 years later, today, we've casually recommended it. Not out of ill intent, but out of something called the slow fade. Please write down the slow fade. It needs to become memorable for you. This slow fade is seeping into your world right now. The team leaders have to be what's called the CRO, the Chief Reminding and Repeating Officers to their people. They have to say it and 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 say it. And those of you that are solo agents or agents on a team, well, guess what? You are your own friggin' boss. And are you reminding yourself all the time of how important this stuff is? So if you're not picking up on the subtle undertone, if you're not role-playing daily, you're losing, you're not winning. If you're not a part of a team, find somebody within your brokerage, your office, or even on Zoom. It is as simple as showing up and saying, I got to do better. Let me give you the perfect daily schedule, I believe. And if you don't have a daily schedule, if you just show up without a plan, your plan is you're about to be extinct from this business. And so here's my ideal perfect daily schedule. 8:30 to 9:15, you role play daily. 8:30 to 9:15. If you don't practice with somebody else, you're practicing on your clients. You understand that, right? Some of you don't even have clients to practice on. And I'm not going to stand up here. I'm a former KW agent. I have so much love for Keller Williams. I think it's such a great company. But I remember going to a KW family reunion, and I heard them say, you need to lead generate 3 hours a day, maybe 4. And they probably did it with, that was my southern accent. Wasn't that good? It was really good. Now, I don't know about you, but if you tell me to go run for 3 or 4 hours, I maybe could do it once. And then I'm just done running for forever. Okay? And I'm not about to tell you that you need to be the person that works 12 to 14 to 16 hours a day. In order to do what I did and to build what I built, I worked 16 hours a day for 10 straight years. I was 90 to 110 hours a week for 10 straight years because I knew what I wanted to build. I had a plan, and I knew what it was going to take. But some of you don't have a plan. And I'm not here to tell you you need to give 4, 5, 6 hours. I'm here to tell you, can you give me 45 minutes of lead generation time? Uninterrupted lead generation time. No notifications whatsoever. You go in with a plan. And the plan is I'm going to know who I'm going to contact. I know how I'm going to contact them, and I know what I'm going to say. 45 minutes. I'm talking 9:15 until 10. Uninterrupted lead generation time with a plan. Intensity over duration. Write that down. Intensity over duration. Do my kids want me to hang out with them while I fart around on my phone for 3 hours, or do they want a 45-minute uninterrupted dinner where they are just the center of my everything? It is quality over quantity all the time. Treat your lead generation that same way. Let's really have a plan when you go into it. Now, lead generation and lead follow-up are 2 very different things. Lead generation is seed planting. Lead follow-up is harvesting. From 10 to 10:45 is lead follow-up time. So 8:30 to 9:15, role play. 9:15 to 10, lead generation. 10 to 10:45, lead follow-up. 10:45 to 11, make your plan for the next day. But, Eric, what if I have a home inspection? Don't schedule your home inspection at that time. But Eric, I have a closing. Yeah, push your closing back to later in the day. Trust me, the title company has time right now. If for some reason something falls at that time, you don't remove it from your schedule, you reschedule it. This is so simple. Again, you brought me in to teach all these amazing things, and I'm teaching you basic stuff because there is success in the basics, and you all basically suck at the basics. You're looking for a shiny object when this is still a relationship game. So we have to be able to crack through and understand that we're playing the same game, but we have to get better because everything around us has gotten noisier. That means we have to have more clarity with our time. Here's the 5 areas that we need to say the right thing. This is an interesting line because to say the right thing both matters to try to get the appointment set and to convert the appointment into an exclusive right to represent agreement. Those are the 2 areas that we look at. But the thing that matters most is number 5, is to establish trust. Everything we do is about trust. And if you believe that you are trustworthy because of your resume, it matters not. I asked a question on Facebook, and so you know it's true if you ask on Facebook. I asked this question a couple of years ago. I said, to my realtor friends, please don't answer, but for those of you who would ever think about selling a home, what's the most important thing to you? Number 1, that you work with the most award-winning and recognized realtor in your area. Number 2, that you work with a realtor that has a proven system to get you the most amount of money in the least amount of time. Number 3, that you work with somebody that treats you like they're their only client and gives you exemplary service. Which would you choose? And we gave them the options. We laid it out, and I said, which one is important to you? And nobody said number 1. That's the most award-winning, recognized realtor in your area. Nobody said that. I had over 100 responses. Nobody said number 1. Some people said, well, the byproduct of number 2 or number 3 might be that they're now the most recognized, award-winning realtor in their area. But nobody said number 1. About 10% of people said number 2. That's a proven system to get you the most amount of money in the least amount of time. Literally, over 80% of people said they want to work with somebody that makes them feel like they're the only client and they give them exemplary service. So how do you get to that point? It's not a billboard. It's not radio advertising. It's making them feel safe. In the vein of asking great questions, some of us have heard of this before. It's one of the things that I teach to my coaching clients and to my team as we talk about the importance of FORD: family, occupation, recreations, and dreams. Now, here's the issue, though, is that we are so quick to sell that we don't spend enough time exploring. I want you to write down 15 minutes on 4 and 15 minutes on the D. If you haven't done so yet, I did a webinar with Kyle. We did a live interaction where we talked about how to get buyers under contract every time. It is something that, Kyle, I ask that you share with this group, the teaching that we have, because I go through this in really great accord. And I explain why, in great detail, why you should spend 15 minutes on each of these areas. Family, occupation, and recreation needs to be not surface level answers. We think now that I heard that you have a spouse and 2 kids that I know enough about your family. That's just the start. I need to know about what you care about. I need to know what you're scared about. I need to know what keeps you up at night. I need to know what fires you up in the morning. I need to know all of the things that have impacted you up till this point, and I need to know about what it is you want in the future. I don't care about where you work. I want to know why you love what you do or why you're frustrated with what you do. I need to peel the layers back on that onion over and over and over and over and over again. And the number 1 question that you need to ask after FORD is, what do you know about the current market? Please write that down. If you mansplain to your clients, this is what's happening in the current market, you have lost all power. Your job should be to ask them what they know about the current market. Because when you ask them what they know about the current market, they're now giving you ammunition for you to demonstrate value. Does that make sense? They've now told you, hey, interest rates are higher, but the market is still moving fast. They've now told you, I understand that I maybe am not going to win my first or second or third offer. They're now saying to you all the things that are the reason why they need you in the first place. But if you just tell them this is what the market's like, we don't get to be the guide. Success is on the other side of mastering simplicity. And so you say, hey, what else is important to you? Tell me more. Keep going, right? And you're going to allow him to go down and continue to give more and more information to you. And then your job, and please write this down, is to repeat, reflect, and rephrase. If you want to make somebody feel important to you, write down everything. I told you to take notes because I wanted to feel important. But it sends a subtlety message that you're invested in what I'm saying. Do you understand that? The most powerful thing that you have is not your cell phone, it's not your laptop, it's not your tablet. It's a piece of paper and a pen. And it demonstrates to that other person that you are listening and listening intently. And then when you say, well, what else? Keep going. Tell me more. And when they've run out of things to say, you rephrase, you reflect, and you repeat, making sure that you fully understand this, which gives you the ability to move into a customized game plan. This is not a one-size-fits-all. This is a customized game plan. And this customized game plan gives you a distinct advantage because you're building trust, because it's for them, not for you. Because you've listened exceedingly well and you've demonstrated to them how you are going to treat them throughout this entire process.
Education without implementation is purely entertainment. And as entertaining as all the speakers were today, if you don't take that time to really resonate with everything that was said, everything you learned, all the notes you took, then it is all entertainment today. So at happy hour, connect with the speakers, think about what you learned, and then Monday, take it out and implement right away. Thanks for everybody for coming. See you at happy hour.